Hello, this is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Tuesday, January 12th, 2016. Let's look at the ES front month futures contract daily chart. That's the S&P cash index in futures format, which is the proper technical way to look at the index. Obviously, some volatility here to start the year. Similar price drop, basically from just under 2,100 to down here in the 1,900 range, as we saw back in August. The one in August was a little more abrupt. This is driven by the drop in oil prices, the situation in China with their markets, and stuff like that. So it's also driven, by the way, by the fact that some of the bigger stocks, as we were talking about, like Google and Amazon, nobody wanted to sell them late last year, and now they can. So we'll take a look at those in a moment. At this point, it's good to see the volatility. It's bad to see the gaps. There's some decent action today, and so that's good. Amazingly, crude oil closed at 31.1750, down another 22 cents. We are now 9 bars into the seeker count. Sorry, actually 10 bars into the seeker count. So a 13 would be an exhaustion, maybe a buy signal. It's interesting that in all of this move down since last June, we've never completed a seeker count. Oh, and by the way, oh no, wait, hold on. Oh no, it just recycled again. Sorry, I didn't have it in projection mode. So there's a new 9-bar startup phase to the downside. That erases the count. So no exhaustion to the downside yet on crude oil. As the S&P gained 1 point after all that today. Not very exciting, obviously. Nasdaq side was up 12.77. SOX was up 3. Doesn't even look like up, but it was up 3 because it gapped up, went down, and came back a bit. Biotechs, however, look at that. That is a ugly looking chart, breaking 3,000 on the biotechs. As go banks and biotechs, so goes the market. Look out. VIX down 2.71. The trend finally got a lower close at 0.8. 1.52 for the 10-day moving average. 2.2 billion shares traded on the Nasdaq total. It's a decent amount. Again, volume back to the 10-day moving average of volume. We still have a couple of those days in that 10-day moving average from the last week of last year. And back to 1.72 billion shares, though. Advanced decline ratio closed negative on both sides. It opened positive, very important, closed negative. So we're negative 672 here on the Nasdaq, negative 949 on the New York. So no good breadth to the market. Google was actually up 2 points, but that's after selling off recently. And look at that. The low of the day of Google, on Google is the red static trend line. And that is a perfect example of how the Seeker tool works. 9-bar startup phase back in October creates the static trend line, which is the red line here. We get our exhaustion count to 13. Okay. And then roll over. That's the top. The risk line of it is the top exactly. That's the pink line. Roll over, make a move exactly to the static trend line. That's exactly how that tool should work. Quite remarkable. Apple was even up a bit today, up $1.57, but still closing under 100 by more than a point. Amazon up 10. So everything kind of bounced. That was the stocks that they've sold off hard the last few days. Netflix up 358. That's been up a couple times so far this year already. All right, let's take a quick look at the intraday action on the ES. And you can see, again, a very small gap up. Filled it about an hour and a half in. We were going into lunch, still sitting dead even for the day. We sold off a bit over lunch, came back, wiggled. Second half of the day was not nearly as exciting. And then we got a pop in the last hour and ended up closing right about where we closed prior session. Not much different on the Nasdaq side. And there it is. All right, so what do we look forward to in the session ahead on Tuesday here? And there's no economic data really to speak of. There's a minor number in the JOLTS job openings 30 minutes into the market. All the data this week is packed to the back half of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Keep in mind also that this is options expiration week, so Wednesday could be that options unraveling move. If not Wednesday, then Thursday. Tuesday, though, is just a basic, straightforward trading day since there's not much for data coming out. So that's it. I mean, there's really not much else to say. I think Wednesday and Thursday will probably be the more exciting days of the week. Friday should be dead with options expiration. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal 12. If you've not taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We'll help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading day.